Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. The topics on the table today for your Friday night news show. We've got updates coming in from Carrington in regards to players being available. We're going to talk about Bendito Mantato's new potential deal. David Ornstein has been speaking about Manchester United's transfer strategy, and apparently Ronaldo's been giving Trincao some advice. How true that is, I'm sure we'll break that myth / rumour a little bit later on. How are we feeling ahead of the weekend, lads? Shreyas?
Yeah, feeling quite good. The temperature has completely shot up here, so kind of glad that I get to spend a few days at home.
Yeah, sorry, I almost forgot. I just started to show without my glasses. It's almost like compulsory now. Sorry, what did you say?
People would have started the show and just been like, "Who's this fucker hosting?
Yeah, why is he hosting? What a weirdo! Get a room, right? Yeah. Shreyas, yeah. Sorry, what did you say? I really interested you.
Glad I get to spend a few days at home. The temperature has completely shot up in India in the past few weeks, so good to be at home, stay in a cool environment. Then hit work back on Tuesday now since Monday's Eid.
Well, for whatever reason, weather always seems to come up when us three are on a show. But the weather in Manchester at the minute, Sam, seems to be it's getting warmer, isn't it? It's a little bit nicer at least.
Mild, I would say. Like
for us though, it's for what we've been,
14, 15 degrees. Yeah. If Shreyas was here, he would be in a big duffel coat and freezing his ass off.
It's context and perspective, right?
It's 40 degrees here.
Yeah.
40?
Yeah, 40.
So do you enjoy that? We will get onto news in a minute. Do you enjoy that, or is it like, oh no, not for me?
I enjoy it when I get to hit the swimming pool, or I just get to lay around. But when I have to go to work in in the morning, and when you just go out, then the heat is just blowing at your face. That's what I hate the most.
I can't imagine doing like
Nick
manual.
Would be dead.
I would actually. I think I'd need like constant ice and a fan on deck to be operating. So I do not envy you in those situations. So speaking of heat, we've got some hot updates coming in from Carrington, like we touched on at the start of the show. Luke Shaw, Leny, YORO, and Harry Maguire are all back training today, lads. They're all back. That's, nice. 3 players. However, Mazraoui, Lindelof and Ugarte weren't involved in training today as they play for their nations on Tuesday. Amorim has given them basically a little bit of extra time off. Sam, what team are we starting to piece together now for the Nottingham Forest, and how much hope, if we're on a percentage scale, of Luke Shaw just being there?
Do you want the honest answer on Luke Shaw, or do you want
the hopeful answer? Is what I want.
I can't give you one on Luke Shaw.
Don't give us hope.
I'm beyond expecting Luke Shaw to be a part of this team in any way, shape, or form at this point. Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, he will suffer some sort of long-term muscle. It's always a muscle injury, isn't it? That's normally what he's out with.
Yeah.
He will suffer some sort of injury at some point before the end of the season. So I think you have to cut your losses in the summer if you can. Obviously, that's very difficult because he's a very injury-prone player. Who the hell's going to buy him? He's on really big wages, I imagine, as well. So yeah, it's a difficult situation. I like him. I think when he's on form, he's one of our best players we have. He seems like a stand-up guy. He seems like a really sort of part of the team, and like doesn't cause any waves or anything. But it's just not reliable. We can't have those players in the team anymore. We had Anthony Martial for 9 years. And we kept saying, once he gets fit, and it just never did he? Mason Mount's now falling into that bracket as well. It's like, how long do we give that guy before we go? He's not ready either. So, yeah, it's got to be brutal at this point because we've hung on to these types of players in the hopes they become part of the team, because when they are on form and they are good, they are very good players. But it's been like, you look at, I don't want to compare Luke Shaw to R9 Ronaldo, but you look at him, how good he was, and how short his career was because he just got destroyed by injuries. Like, his injuries just ruined it.
Didn't have that on me bingo card, the R9 and Shaw comparison.
But like, do you know what I mean? Like, people kept saying, oh, Ronaldo, when he's fit, and he just never happened. Like, just never happened. And in a similar way, Ronaldo didn't look after his body. R9 Ronaldo, not Cristiano. He didn't look after himself. Like, he smoked, he ate, he drank. We know Luke Shaw's had issues with his weight and stuff like that in the past, and he's not looked after himself properly. So there's factors there as well. So yeah, I just think we have to cut him loose in the summer, regardless of what happens.
Wasn't there a story with Cristiano and Shaw or something when he first came back? I'm sure there was something about that. Was it to do with red sauce or something? And, like, or a dessert, I think it was. I'm sure it was about a dessert.
Is it sticky toffee?
Yeah,
and
they
then
took
you
his
looked
sticky
if
toffee pudding
Ronaldo.
off it.
Yeah, if Ronaldo was like having it, and then all the rest of them were like, "Well, I'm not having it if he's not having it."
Cristiano ain't having it, then
Yeah.
I'm not having it.
Yeah.
There was a dispute over desserts of some form or something like that. Let's play a hypothetical situation, though, Shreyas. We know that if he can stay fit, will it be his knee next or his fucking heel, or we just don't know, right? But if we are playing this hypothetical situation out, if he starts regular, do you think he would be a starter straight away again?
Yeah, as a wing back, he would.
As a wing back?
Yeah, over Dallo any day. I would have Luke Shaw in that position.
I think he'd be left centre back.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think wing back could be interesting.
I think right now, if you look into this team, I think YORO, De Ligt form a good partnership in there. Maguire does a decent job in there as well. I think the area where we lack more is the wing back, because apart from Dorgu, we don't really have anyone who has that sort of attacking intent, someone who actually knows how to cross the ball into the box. And I think, once again, hypothetical situation, if Luke Shaw stays fit, I think he's miles better than Dallo as a wing back, because once again, naturally he can play in that position. He has a good cross on him, and even while moving forward, he's got a good shot on him as well. So I think if he does play, maybe Garnacho even has some more joy actually playing on as that left-sided 10.
The only thing that would concern with me with that wing-back role is how dynamic and how static you have to be up and down that line. So for someone coming back from an injury, or injuries in Luke Shaw's case, about 1,000 of them, how athletic are you still bombing up and down as a wing-back? That's my concern.
I can just see it happening. Like if they put him a wing back and he starts like a pacing run up the wing, and I could just see a hamstring, a thigh.
That's right. It's a hypothetical situation.
Do you know what I mean?
In the first place.
Yeah, I could just see it happening, and then he pulls up, and then that's it. He's done. So it's just, I don't think you risk him at wing back. I think if you are going to play him, he becomes a left centre back rotation. I think that's where he plays.
Will his pace still be there? Like, it's so many questions, isn't there? When you've had that many injuries, how much does it change you as a player? Because that's why I think he could, in a back five where you are more protected as that left-sided or right-sided centre half, you have got the protection there, so you can push forward. He has got the experience. He's been at United for nearly a decade. Don't forget, like, he's been here a long time. So
also, with your right-sided, left-sided centre backs, they're the ones you expect to sort of push up and like come into the midfield, and he's very good at that. He's good on the ball. He's got a great pass on him. He can progress the ball. He's fairly strong and stuff. So he fits into that sort of mold that you want. Leny is obviously the heir apparent to that role. Like, he's going to become that guy. But if you look, you got Aiden Heavens coming through as well. Obviously, Lissandro, we don't know the status of his injury. So he's going to find his competition for that place fairly stiff. Like, he's going to have to fight to get back in there.
But one thing he has over all of them is experience. So, and I think going into these games, again, it all relies on if he stays fit or not. I know that, but going into these games against Lyon in Europa League, and if we do advance further to the final, having someone like him available, and sometimes starting him, De Ligt, Maguire, just so you've got that, they've dealt with multiple different attackers. Someone like Aiden Heaven or YORO, let's say. Remember YORO against Southampton against that player, Slimani was it, who just fucking tore him a new one. Each centre backs could have an opposition player like that who's going to give him something. Aiden Heaven will have it at some point where he'll struggle a little bit, and you don't want that to be a semi-final or a final. You know what I'm saying? So having Shaw back, fingers crossed, if he does stay fit, that's fine. YORO likewise. Maguire's an interesting one, isn't it, Shreyas? Because does he come straight back in? Is he a central centre back, or does De Ligt stay there and you keep? Obviously, Heaven's out now as well, isn't he? So how do you see that backline piecing together over the next couple of weeks?
I think next couple of weeks, maybe we see De Ligt, YORO, and Mazraoui playing in there. And, you have Dallo and Dorgu on as, those wing backs. Because the thing is, De Ligt has been doing very, very well as that centerpiece in that back three. And I know that even Maguire does a, decent enough job. He puts a shift in that position. But when you have De Ligt as that centerpiece, and then if you compare it to having Maguire as that centerpiece, our dynamic completely changes when you're trying to play the ball out from the back, because De Ligt allows you to still push the, ball a bit further up. It allows you to play a higher line as well. With Maguire, you cannot play that way. you have to be a bit more conservative at the back. You need to be a little more protective. You need to be a little more, I would say, careful when you're on the ball as well, when you're being counter pressured by the other team. So I would have him on the bench for sure. And I think right now it would be smarter to actually go with Dilik, Mazraoui, and YORO. If you need to close games down, like, you're 2-0 up, like you mentioned Leon, maybe, in the first leg, we're like 2-0 or 3-0 up. You just need to close the game down. You put Maguire on instead of YORO, just shore up the defense and, go into the next round and then, take it from there. But I think it would be better not to tangle with that backline a lot right now, because for the first time, it looks a bit stable. In the past few weeks, it actually looks like, that defensive line, at least midfield and attack is a different story, but at least that back line looks good.
Yeah, I was just going to say that it feels like things are piecing together now, doesn't it, Sam? If you, apart from obviously the attack, there's still conversations, question marks, and then the right-sided wing back. But I've got good news for you. So Bendito Mantato is set to sign his first professional contract for Manchester United next week. Ruben Amorim's keen to hand him a first-team debut before the season ends. And obviously we've got Ahmad coming back soon as well, who can also play there. But that role's interesting, isn't it, Sam? Just in general going forward, what we're going to do in the summer, how well Bendito could potentially do, and Ahmad coming back into the fold.
Yeah, James from Upstairs mentioned he probably would have had his debut by now if it not for an injury he suffered just before the season started. He probably would have been here by now. So he's really highly rated, and apparently he is a Quenda type player. Like, he has everything that Quenda has. So we could solve that right wing back issue without spending a penny. Like, he's rated that highly, so it would be really interesting to see if he does come in and he has a similar impact to like Aiden Heaven did when he came in. He looked excellent in those two games. Maybe Mantato comes in and he looks excellent, and you think, okay, we've got something here. Do you still then invest in an experienced right wing back, or do you continue with Dallo? Because I think there's big question marks over Dallo's future at United. I just don't see him in that right wing back role. I just don't think he's good enough. I don't think he offers enough in that right wing back role. So whether he becomes a right centre back under the system or we move him on. But yeah, like, that right wing back spot's open for Mantato to grab hold of and take it. Like, he can have that if he plays well. Like, it's his to take. The centre backs are a bit more sort of open. I think De Ligt has established himself on that right centre back role. I think he's nailed down. The centre ones is still a bit of an issue. It's like Shreyas said, Harry Maguire. Like, do you put YORO there? Like, who's really there? The left centre back just seems to be cursed because they just keep getting injured. Lissandro injured, Leny YORO injured, Aiden Heaven injured, Luke Shaw constantly injured. So yeah, it's interesting to see how that defence is going to shape up in the summer. But I'm confident in the sort of players that we've got at the minute. But I'm really excited to see Mantato. I would like to see him get something in the Premier League at some point. We've got how many games left? Like 7 or 8
in the Premier.
Let's give him a couple of games at least. Let's see what he's got, because that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, from what I've read, there seems to be a lot of hype and noise around Bendito at the minute. From Amorim, coming from Ineos, everyone, all the hierarchy, are huge admirers of him. But it's just nice in it to have this young talent. And I don't know if anyone saw Sekou Kone's goal today, by the way, as well.
The volley, yeah.
The volley was really well taken. He scored his first goal for United as well. So amongst the negativity that we've seen this season, having talents coming through like him, if you just get your recruitment right in the summer, you've got a team to work with there, haven't you? You've got like a future at least.
Yeah, and look, the biggest thing right now is we still don't know which positions we would actually target next season as a whole when you look into this team, because by the time preseason actually kicks in, we've got a whole lot of youngsters actually coming into the team. You've got the likes of Diego Leon, Sekou Kone, Mantato can save us a few bucks as well on that side as well. You've got some very, very, talented players coming through from the academy. So if Amorim does fancy a few of these guys and they can feature on the bench and as backup players, or you never know, as starter players for us, ultimately in next season, it can save us a lot of money, because, once again, Menu saved us around 80 to 100 mil this season itself by just coming through the ranks last year. So if we can get 2 players in, whether it's a wing back, whether it's someone in the attack, whether it's someone in the midfield like Sekou Kone, they can actually save us a lot of money, because a lot of players are going to be leaving next season. Lindelof is going to be leaving. Casemiro is on the way out. You've got the likes of
Fucking
Eriksen also
obvious.
leaving. Yeah. So you've got to fill those positions in as well. And if these youngsters can actually, rise up to the occasion and, take those spots, I think more of the money then can be completely invested into the starting 11 itself, as to getting players who can just, straight away fit into this 11. You've already got your bench sorted out, and then you can move into it into preseason without having to, just delaying, and the season kicks off. Then you're able to get some couple signings in, and then it becomes a whole scenario that the player first needs to reintegrate into the team, needs to understand the, the intensity and the pace of the prem. So you save yourself a lot of cash as well as a lot of time.
Yeah, it's a good point you make, to be fair, about the financial side of it, because obviously they was going to go splash out, the rumours reported, around £50 million for Kenda, right? If he develops into how the hierarchy anticipate with Bendito, you're going to save yourself £60 million, which then opens up another area in your team where you can go and invest.
Yeah. Plus wages as well. Like, I imagine Kenda's going to ask for a wage increase on what he's on now. Like, so you get to save that as well, because academy players tend to have a lower wage when they sign their first professional contract. Shout out to Jack Morehouse as well. He was really, really good in that youth game. He had an absolute stonking game. So I hope I get to see him as well before the end of the season. He seems to be, apparently his ability is like way above what it should be at the age that he's at. Like, he can play with both feet. He's got an outside pass on him and stuff. Like, he's really, really good. So yeah, I'd like to see him as well come through, which again, if he could play in an 8 position, a ball carrying 8, that might solve another issue for United in the summer.
Yeah, I saw the comparisons with Tyler Diblin as well, with Jack Morehouse. So yeah, I do need to watch more of the youth level football. I don't watch enough of it to really get a grasp on these players. Like, I've seen bits and bobs, but I don't think it's enough to get a full kind of strategic view of them. So I'm going to make an effort to watch more of that, especially during the international break when there's no football on whatsoever. I'm going to make an effort to do that. But United are back in action on Tuesday, which I'm excited to see as well. But more in the near future, we do have a transfer window coming up, Shreyas, which is, we've just been talking about recruitment and academy players and all this kind of stuff. And David Ornstein's been speaking about Manchester United in the market, saying we're hearing their preference will be to continue what has been their approach more recently. Younger talents costing lower transfer fees and salaries who fit Ruben Amorim's system style and can develop into top players with increased market value. So I'd imagine there will be further recruits along the lines. You mentioned rather than going for the likes of Gyökeres and Osimhen, please don't hold me to that, because you never know in this unpredictable industry. But that is the direction of travel being explained to us. But the one thing I will say to you, Shreyas, is, right, and I keep pushing this narrative, but it's true. How many young players can you just keep buying, right? Because if you're, I don't know, opening a restaurant, let's say, for example, and you just have apprentice chefs running the joint, it's going to be burgers flying everywhere. You're going to set the oven on fire. You've got all the freshness and ideas, but you don't have that head chef to guide them, right? So they need some experience in this team, don't they?
Yeah, and they need. I think defensively it's still all right. I think in the attack we are in desperate need of some experience. Whether you look at that striker position, whether you look at the winger position, you can call it as well. You need some experience in there. You need someone who these youngsters can actually turn to in moments of pressure, in moments where you. Yeah, and once again, this team still needs more match winners in there. Right now, we've only got Bruno, who can actually just change the tide of the game completely by his by himself. We need more players like that. So I think when you look at it from a younger, from the youngsters' perspective, he is still quite all right. Ahmad is quite young, Garnacho is quite young, Menu is quite young, Højlund and Xerxes are quite young. You've already got enough players when you look at the age bracket. Delict is young, YORO is young, Aiden Heaven is young. So it's time that we actually get some experience in some 27 or 28-year-old guys who know the game, understand the intensity, and how to adapt in different situations in the Premier League as well. So I think most of it is required in the attack. I think we need a striker for sure, and we need desperately another 10 as well in this team.
Because even teams, some like Real Madrid, let's say, because they went down the route, didn't they, of like rather than just going for Galacticos, they started bringing in these young talents, right? But even if you go through their team with like a fine tooth, you've got Carvajal, for example, extremely experienced.
Yeah.
You've got Modric, Courtois. Like you go throughout them, they've got leaders in there, so these young players can flourish and they can be kept in check. Do you not feel the same needs to happen with us this summer? And do you still think they will go majority youth players?
I think it'll be a heavy weight, like a heavy weighted side towards the youth and towards like prospect players. But I think you're right. They do have to bring in some sort of experience at some point, whether that's like a sprinkle, like a 2 players, maybe 3 or something like in each like role, like a defender and a midfielder, or maybe a striker and a midfielder, whatever it is you want to do. I think they need to definitely bring that in. I know you've got a couple in the team. You've got Bruno, who's there. You could argue Onana, but again, what's his future saying? You have got De Ligt, who is young, but he has got plenty of experience, and he is a leader. He's been a captain, so you have got him in there. Shaw, I know we've just spoke about him. He's been around a long time. Obviously, whether he plays on it is another question. So you have got people in there who are experienced. Casemiro, but again, how long is he going to be here? We don't know. So you have got people in there, but yeah, I think it's right to bring in maybe like 27, 28-year-olds around there. So not like past the prime or past like they're on the big last contract, but maybe it's their second to last big contract. So you can bring them in for 3-4 years to help, like you said, bring through these youth players, bring through these academy players, to show them the ropes, to teach them the game, to teach them like how to sort of steady themselves in big moments and things like that. So I think it'd be a great idea. I just don't know how many we're going to get. Like I don't see us doing a lot of them, maybe 2 at the most, I'd probably say, coming in.
I'm going to say one player's name who fits exactly what you've just been describing there and fits the money that we paid for him as well. Mazraoui.
Yeah,
15 million quid. 26, 27 years old. He's obviously got something about him. We've seen on the pitch with, who was it? It was against Ipswich when Delap, who did he kick? Who did Delap kick? Was it Garnacho?
Yeah.
Yeah, he ran over and shoved him.
Yeah. And then the Mazraoui out of nowhere, like something out of wrestling, just like, boom, fuck off in a bit. Like, I'm not saying we want people to just come in and kick off, but I'm saying he's obviously cares. He's been playing whilst he's been fasting. He's showing traits of a leader in it, you know what I mean? And so's De Ligt as well, both of them.
They've played in Champions Leagues, like at a high level, played in World Cups and like Euros, and maybe not Euros for Mazraoui, but played in World Cups. They've played at high level. Like they aren't just nobodies. So yeah, Mazraoui is definitely one that I probably should have thought of. Like he's definitely a leader.
Well, lucky for us, Shreyas, going into this summer, whether I don't know if you call him an experienced player or not, but it was certainly an experienced player who advised him. According to Graham Bailey, Cristiano Ronaldo has advised Francisco Trincao to join Manchester United. Now, I'm not quite sure how Graham has managed to get this scoop, to be honest with you, but Trincao, obviously you see the ex-Amorim player, you see the international break, let's link him. Is this what's going on here, do you think? A bit of a nothing story?
I think so. Reason being, we're honestly, going to be linked with every single sporting player as it is.
Yeah.
Whether it's Humeland, whether it's Gyökeres, whether it's Trincao, whether it's Pedro Gonçalves, every single one of them we are going to get linked with. And Trincao had a massive performance against Denmark in the second leg. So you could already, we all knew it. We saw it from a mile. That
Chivy called it. Chivy called it in the group chat.
Yeah, he did. He literally did. Said it in WhatsApp.
Next morning, the first thing that you hear coming out is United is interested in Trincao.
Can I just give people who are watching context for that? So literally, whilst the game was ongoing, whilst Denmark were playing, we was talking about the game and saying, it's really, really good, end to end. Who's going to win it? And Chivy literally just commented saying, I bet there is a story tomorrow that links us with that Trincao who's just scored. And as soon as the first ring in the morning,
10 o'clock the next morning,
comes in, United want Trincao, link, like you can see it mile off, can't you?
Yeah, and again, not saying that he's not a decent player, but he's struggled in the Prem before at Wolves. He has played in the Prem.
I forgot he was at Wolves. Completely forgot about that.
Didn't have a good time there. Had to venture back to Barca. Then eventually got sold to Sporting. He was able to redefine his game a lot. Amorim got the best out of him, but I'm sure with the kind of way that he's elevated his profile in the past few seasons, Sporting are definitely going to demand around 70 to 80 for him. And I don't think that United are going to be even, nearing that territory, especially for a winger. Even if we do head into that territory, I'm sure we'll do it for a striker.
Yeah.
We're not going to do it for a number 10 or a winger.
Maybe they will box more clever with kind of free agents and younger players. And Angel Gomez is a name, Sam, that's been throughout there. I'm just going through the transfer cycle here of rumours throughout today. This is coming from Ben Jacobs, that clubs in the Premier League in particular are chasing Gomez. And my expectation is that, one, he moves to the Premier League, and two, there's a strong likelihood that either Tottenham or Manchester United win the race for his signature. Would you take Angel Gomez back?
I think he was very, very talented when he was coming through, but obviously his size was always an issue because he's a small in stature. Is he like 5'4" or something like that?
Yeah.
Like, he's not a big lad.
Where my short king's at.
And I just think the Premier League is so physical. It's so physical, and obviously he did well in Ligue 1, which is a less physical league. I don't know. Like, obviously people can shock you, like, because Ahmad isn't the biggest guy and he's one of the strongest people you've ever seen on the ball. Like, apparently in training it's impossible to get the ball off. Like, you cannot do it. So maybe he's developed that. Maybe he has that in his game. But yeah, I just think, does he play in that 10? Like, is that where, like, right or left hand 10? Is that where we stick him?
No, it'd be deeper.
It'd be deeper?
Yeah, he'd be in one of the midfield roles, in my opinion, at least, anyway. Because when you look at him, when he came in England under Lee Carsley, he was operating more as kind of like an 8, from what I saw.
I think 8, you've got to be a bit tougher. You've got to be a bit more physical. Like, if you look at probably one of the best midfielders in Europe who can take the ball from the defensive line up to the attacking box, the best player is probably Frankie de Jong. Like, he is world class at it. Like, he can take that ball and he's not getting shoved off. He's strong, fast, and he can get that ball. And I think that's where we need to be aiming, that type of player. And I don't know if Angel Gomez is that guy. Like, squad depth, maybe an option off the bench, maybe, but I think we need to aim a little bit higher. How old is he as well? Is he 26?
Yeah, somewhere around that age.
Yeah, not for me personally.
Shreyas?
Yeah, not for me either. And secondly, I don't think United are going to be getting him, because the reason he left United in the first place was because of lack of game time. And now that he's going to be coming into this team, he's not displacing Bruno, he's not displacing Ahmad, he's not displacing Ugarte in that midfield, and we're surely going to get someone else in as well. So if he does come in, he's only going to be a bench option for us. So, and once again, I think with the way we play as a deep lying midfielder, I think we need someone who is a lot more demanding on the ball, and output wise as well is up there, because you look at Bruno's stats this season from deep lying positions as well. It's at this level. Angel Gomez is a very gifted player. I think he's very, very technically skilled on the ball, but output wise he's not there. So I think right now this team is crying out loud for someone who can actually get those sort of stats and outputs.
Yeah, physicality is something that Amorim spoke about a million times as well, and that would just go against the whole. As good as he is technically, Angel Gomez, I just like strength and running power and all those kind of things. You almost have to have a player in that role who's capable of everything. Almost like he's just strong, quick, amazing at passing, got a shot on him, can long range, short range, everything. Great mentality. You're gonna have to spend decent in there. Yeah, Valverde being just a perfect example.
But you look at like Christian Eriksen, one of the best technical players we have in the squad. He's phenomenally good technically, can pass, range of vision and stuff. But if he gets any sort of knock on the ball, he just gets shoved over, doesn't he? Like, he's just got no physicality about him, like, at all.
Especially when you look at players like Villa, like Onana, for example, who's just like this towering figure. Yeah, just literally slaps him off the but just in a bit. Yeah, you sit over there, mate. You need a blend of both. We're gonna stick with the French league just for this last story. And do you know what? I don't even think we should discuss. I just think it's this. I'll read the article and you'll see what I mean. Despite making inquiries, it's unlikely Jonathan David will move to Manchester United. But the versatile forward, not the kind of profile Ruben Amorim is seeking. And I think for one, as a collective, the majority of us knew it's all kind of agent talk that's been pushed with Jonathan David. He's just trying to send him left, right, centre, wherever he can at this moment in time. So I, for one, am happy. I don't know what you think. Would you, simple yes or no? Just Jonathan David, lads.
No.
Yeah, that's. I'm happy with that. But I thought to finish the show, rather than end it on a slight negative, if you want to call it that, let's all, I don't know, not place a bet, but just for the sake of it, let's say place a bet on the striker we will sign this summer. So, and this is not who you want to sign, because I know people have the preferences and you want to go for certain players. Who you think Man United will sign? Shreyas, go.
Awesome.
Offer a little bit of context as to why you think it'll definitely, not definitely, but that would be your horse in the race, let's say, for example.
I think, once again, in the type of territory that we are venturing right now when it comes to the striker, every single one of them is being listed around 75 to 85 mil. And in the case of Osimhen, I think his release clause is around 63 to 65 million. Again, he's very, very strong in the box, and with the kind of form that he has been in the past few seasons, and with the kind of striker we do need in this team, someone who is going to pretty much guarantee you 20-25 goals a season. I think for 63 million, and again, I think he's only like 26, 27, something around that age mark. I think for me, I think the most cost-effective option as well, because even if we venture out for Gyökeres, going to cost us is 70-75 million. We go in for someone else as well who, in that territory of getting us 25 to 20 to 25 guaranteed goals, going to cost you a lot. So for me, it's going to be Osimhen, just because of the release clause and also because of the player's preference to play in the Prem.
I don't think it's going to be any of the ones that we've seen listed or named. I think it's just going to be an unknown, like a Dorgu type signing. I think that's what it's going to be.
So you're not going to attach a name to it?
Well, I'd have to do some research and look into. Like, I don't think it's all the players that have been named, like Ekitike, Gyökeres,
Sesko,
Osimhen, Sesko. I don't think it's any of them. I don't think we get any of those ones. Jonathan David, another one. Like, I don't think it'll be any of them. I think it'll be a play like just
Mateta.
give me like.
Mateta.
I doubt it, but because I reckon Palace are going to try and like staunch us a load of money for him. Like they'll be like 60 million or something ridiculous. So I think it'll be like there'll be a striker in like Borussia Mönchengladbach who's like scored 20 goals or something like that, and that's who we'll go for. We'll get somebody like that, somebody who fits the profile, who fits the system, like Dorgu has, who nobody knows much about, and he'll come in. That'll be it.
Interesting. Well, let us know your thoughts in the comments section as well, guys, who you think United are going to bring in as the new number 9. If they bring in a new number 9, you would like to think they would, but
have to. They have to.
Yeah.
Have to.
I think it's going to be Osimhen, personally. That's my...
Yeah.
If I'm a betting man and I'm happy to say you have to put, I don't know, 500 quid on it now, Osimhen would be the one that I would probably put it on. Because everything I'm hearing out of Gyökeres is just Champions League football. He wants to kick on and all that kind of stuff. And maybe it's a similar thing with Osimhen, but that's not. The less we know about it, the better almost. Because when you get to somewhere and they sign a player and you're like, okay, that's fine. Like, I trust them at the minute. I don't really have any worries that they're going to panic buy. So, yeah,
and you never know.
Ineos.
As well, there might be players who at the minute are not available. And we think, oh, well, we're not linked with them or they're not available, but they might in the summer then go, I want to leave. And then there might be an opportunity that pops up where you can leap on it and sign them. So there might be something like that happens where shoot me a striker from a top European club.
Isaac.
Like, Isaac goes, I want to go to United. I mean, like, I know it's unlikely, but
highly.
But you know what I mean? Somebody like Dortmund, who's Dortmund's striker? Is it Garassi?
Garassi,
yeah.
Like somebody like that, where they go, they're available, and United go and get them for a decent price. Like that could happen. So
it is. So we'll re-change the title of the show to Sam thinks United are going to buy Isaac, and we're going to win the Premier League next season. Yeah. Sorted. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Please do smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and me, Sam, and Shreyas will see you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Football's nearly back.
21 is coming.
See you in a bit.